So as much as anything else, that policy is about sending a message to gang members. You don't get to show off about being a member of a criminal organisation. That's not okay, and our community won't stand for it.
Morena, Graham Bloxham for Wellington Live and Wellington in Your Pocket. And I've just been judging the Wellington scone contest, so and you're dealing with negative GDP.
Yeah, we've had a slightly different morning, haven't we?
Yeah, this is Nicola Willis, and I'm very fortunate to be able to come down to Parliament, and I know you're busy, and we've been chasing you around for an interview, and so yeah, Pravda won the scone contest.
And I can say those are very good scones, because during the last lockdown we hunted online for the recipe and my family became experts at them. Very good scones.
Excellent. Well, Nicola, you're dealing with a lot of different stuff, and this is an interview for Celebrating Women of Wellington, and it's about uplifting and maybe digging in a little bit about how you deal with and social pressure. You're a person in the community. We know that you're huge in your community. You've been a corporate leader, busy in corporate life, and now in Parliament, deputy leader. So, I mean, how do you organise all of that and stay fabulous?
Well, I'm not fabulous every day, I'll tell you that. But what I have is incredible people around me, and that's the secret sauce. So I'm very lucky. My husband, Duncan, has a view, and always has had a view, that caregiving is a responsibility that we share according to our circumstances. It's not a gender divide thing. We have 4 children. He does a great job with them. Here at Parliament, I have an incredible team. I'm really fortunate that I have smart people around me who want me to succeed. And I think that's my experience. It's never about the individual. It's about the people you put around you and how they can help you. Yeah.
Tell me, what would be some advice that you give to a 20-year-old self, given what you worked at Fonterra and executive level, you're now come up as the deputy of a major party. Are you going to win next year?
We are going to win next year. We're working very hard to make sure that we do. We don't take anything for granted, but we know that a lot of New Zealanders are saying to us a change of direction's needed. So we're working hard to provide them that.
What advice would you give a 20-year-old yourself?
Well, the first advice I'd give is that have confidence and optimism about your future. And I know that's very easy for me to say, because the world is a challenging place right now. I think for a 20-something coming up, they're thinking about climate change, they're thinking about how unaffordable housing's got, they're thinking about conflict internationally. But what I would say is there's still so much to be optimistic and positive about. So be that way and grasp the opportunities that come your way. In my life, I never had a really clear plan for where I wanted to go or exactly what that would look like. I didn't have one of these 5-year plans with, 2-year goals and things. But what I did have was an attitude that when opportunity comes, I'm going to embrace it, I'm going to give it my everything and hope that it works out. And my experience was that when you give it everything, you're passionate about it, the next door always opens.
What about when it doesn't open, when it doesn't work? I mean, how do you regroup, and how have you regrouped? And I mean, it doesn't. You're in a tough place. Politics looks brutal.
Yeah, politics can be brutal, and I want to acknowledge that failure is absolutely part of everyone's life and everyone's career trajectory. And being able to be resilient in the face of failure is a big skill. I think about in 2017, I went through my first election campaign, and at the end of it, I didn't end up in Parliament. I failed in the goal, which was to get to Parliament. And I spent several months outside of Parliament looking in, going, I wish I was there. And at the time, it felt like an enormous failure, and I wasn't sure if I'd made the right decisions in life. But actually what happened each day was my hunger to get to Parliament grew. And I thought more deeply about why I wanted to be there, more deeply about what I'd achieve when I got there, and more deeply about what mattered to me. And what that meant was, when I did eventually get there in 2018, when I was called up off the list, I really savoured each day. And I hold that with me now. And I'm sure that when I get up in the morning and I feel that sense of privilege about the job that I get to do as an MP, that has been heightened by the fact that I had that failure to begin with. So failure can make you stronger. We all experience it. It's part of life. It's the bouncing back that counts.
Do you think we can get out of this debt that we've got?
Yeah, well, we're going to have to, because what I think about when I think about debt is some debt's okay if you're investing in what's needed for productive growth. You know, we know that. Good infrastructure. A Mount Vic tunnel, for example. You know, we can take on a bit of debt to do that so that the future generations have that. Investing in climate change adaptation, that sort of thing. But we also have to make sure is that when my kids and grandkids are coming through, that we haven't left the country in such a situation that if an economic shock came, that if something went wrong in the global economy, we were left without the money we need to pay the bills and without the capacity to borrow to get us through. You know, when you think about COVID, it's well known, the country borrowed a lot of money to
How much did we borrow?
Tens of billions. And we were able to do that because in the past, governments had paid down the debt and put us in a really prudent position so that we were then able to borrow. And that's where you want to be, that you've got enough of a safety net that you can get through the difficult times. So it's going to be important that we pay down the debt in the future.
Excellent. Okay, the questions are in, Wellington, and the first question that we have is Graham Mark Sainsbury's brother?
and I think that's a very fair question. There's a very strong likeness. Have you changed your last name?
No, I'm a Bloxham, and I'm not as clever as that guy. When gangs break laws and are proud to be lawbreakers, what makes you think banning gang patches in public would prevent crime? From Tori Regan.
Well, it's a good question. And look, for me, when I see a group of people wearing gang patches in public, I feel intimidated, I feel threatened. Because what that patch says to me is, I am proudly a member of a violent organisation that breaks the law to make money. And I really don't like that they're able to do that. And I think a lot of New Zealanders join me in that. They feel intimidated by it. So as much as anything else, that policy is about sending a message to gang members. You don't get to show off about being a member of a criminal organisation. That's not okay, and our community won't stand for it.
Well done. No, I guess it's just the edge of it, isn't it? Because National are really getting in there. And I interviewed Mark Mitchell, and he said that there are a lot of changes down the chain. It's not just the patches, there's a lot to it.
Yeah, that's right. We've got other initiatives too, because really what we want to do is back the police and give them the tools they need to go hard on the gangs.
Next question from Ross Hallam. What will you do about superannuation? Will you, National, raise the eligibility age?
Yeah, look, the short answer is we will, and that's because we think universal superannuation is a really core and important part of what New Zealanders expect from the government, and we want to make sure it's sustainable and affordable. And as you'll be aware, the costs of superannuation have grown dramatically as we've got an ageing population. What we also have is people living longer and working for longer, and we think it's appropriate that the superannuation age reflect that. So we've proposed in the past increasing the age of eligibility by a couple of years up to 67, but doing that progressively over time so that people have a really long lead-in to prepare for that. We don't think it would be fair to do that overnight because that would make a big change for people who are planning to retire at 65. So we've said let's do that several years in the future and do that gradually so that people can know, when I get to that age I can get my super.
Last question. Who is your favourite MP?
Oh, well, of course, I have to say Chris Luxon, because he's my leader. Excellent. So that is, he is absolutely my favourite MP, and he's doing a great job. And, you know, the cool thing about being leader and deputy is you get to know each other really well, because we do a lot of things together, we get put under pressure together, we have to respond to things together. And he's become my friend. And I think that's one of the things in politics that people don't see, is that we do have a huge amount of camaraderie and friendship, and we do have some lovely times together. You know, he knows my kids, he knows my husband, I know his wife, I know his kids, and we're friends, so he's a good guy.
Well, Wellington in your pocket, it allows us to join together businesses. It's a bit of a software thing. I'm going to put you on the spot. If you were to join a few things together of a morning in Wellington on the fly, what would you do? What would it be?
Well, look, on a Sunday, the Harbourside markets are really fantastic. So I'd head down to the Chaffers Wharf there and have a look at all of the great stalls and see and buy some veggies and buy some of the cheese and have a chat with the people there. Then I'd want to go for brunch. So I'd go to Grand Century who do a wonderful yum cha lunch, excellent food. Then after that, I'd probably have to walk it all off. So I would recommend either jumping on the cable car or jumping on a bus and heading up to the Zealandia Wildlife Sanctuary and doing a walk through that beautiful bush and looking at some of the birds. And if you're lucky, you might even get to see a tuatara too. So I reckon that would make for a great day.
So a waterfront,
Yep.
markets, cheese, you said, and then over to some beautiful Chinese,
Yep.
yum cha, with it all coming at you.
Yeah.
Walk it off, bus, and then Zealandia.
Yeah.
Back to nature.
Yeah, I think that would be a great day. And Zealandia is such a jewel in our crown. We should be so proud of it. You know, a wildlife sanctuary, only 8 minutes from the city. That's incredible.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was Graham Bloxham for Wellington Live and Wellington in Your Pocket. That was absolutely wonderful, and thank you for opening up and sharing to our followers. That was an absolute delight. Thank you.
Yeah, my pleasure. And go Wellington.